So today we are going to go through the Sage CRM CTI Framework by Enbu. We'll start with the login screen, which is pretty similar to the Sage CRM login screen, except this is a customizable login screen which can contain such things as turret logins, station logins, and whatever else you may need for advanced CTI logins on a particular desktop station. In this particular case, we just go for straightforward simple login, and from logging in, the main difference that you'll find within the login is that you will be running a dual mode sense of Sage CRM. So in the normal context, you'll find that CRM pops up in the main frame as it normally does, but also on the right hand side you have what we call the CTI Framework. On this basis, it means that you can continue to use CRM in the way that you typically do. So it means you can run around the system and find whatever else you may need to see and use it in the normal manner that you are used to doing. However, the main difference is that resident at all times is the CTI framework on the right hand side. This framework is a customizable framework which allows you to build up a display configured by partners or IT deployment people in terms of what they want to see. The standard comes with three main sections: a status area, a control panel, and a general CRM view, and you'll see those in action as we go along. So let's take a simple example and start using basic CTI operations. Let's go for a number that we may want to dial out, and we begin with that dial out, and you can see the dialer working away and actually making the dial out as we go. In this particular case, we've used a simple user ID so as to distinguish the matching system that's using on the CRM view, so that we can see all the various contacts that this number may pertain to. While you're talking to this person, you may have more than one contact, so you can flip through each of the contacts that it may be, and once you've settled on which contact it may be, then you can know that this is the one that's in context in terms of what you're doing. You can use utility buttons in the control panel, so for example to create a task against the context that you're in at any given stage, or it might be to say create a case, which is a typical thing for a kind of call center type thing, or it may be something like create opportunity. The point to make is that all of these buttons are completely customizable in terms of what you offer to your client at the end user. We go through typical scenarios of putting the call on hold, bringing it back on hold, and eventually actually finishing the call. Main thing here again as a feature is that when you hang up the actual call, you're getting automatic behavior in the background. For example, a communication has been created against Jody, who was the person that we were in context with, and we know that we can see that communication and it's done automatically in the background, and we can have a look and see what that communication had in it. So in this particular case it was today and at this time in the evening, and we can see that it was an automatic CTI phone call made, and we can see the duration of the call, what the caller ID was, and any data that may have come in from that. Taking that point about the data, this is useful to show how an incoming call may occur. So if we actually use our demonstration system and plug in a demo 12345 CLI and data that may come in through that call. So in this case, the call is coming in, and we have an opportunity to see who it may be and also to answer that call as it's come in. So now we're dealing with Sheila, for example, which is the matched contact that we have in this question. What you'll notice here is that the calls come online, but the data that may have pertained to this call that came in through IVR or any other system has allowed you to identify that as a carrier within the call. We can do the same kind of thing: suspend the call, bring it back, and the usual type of things that we went through before. In this case, when you actually end the call, again, as an example, as part of the standard, it creates a communication in the background, and in this case it carries the data over as well. So it means that what you're looking at within this, you'll see that the data has come through as part of that automatic communication being created. Okay, so there's a lot more around this framework about what you can do with it visually, but let's move over to the point of maintenance or the point of delivery and what you can do with the configured system. Well, as well as communicating with the left and right of the main CRM system, you also have the opportunity to configure this through a point and click basis. There are system menus that are being built into the CTI framework so that you can actually change the behavior of what it may do. So take, for example, there's a palette of CTI actions. So when you log in, you'll see that it's redirected to run within the CRM action an ASP ASP page which is maintained within the actions folder of the CTI framework. When you make a dial out call, it goes to what is the dial function in the ASP as well. These obviously can then mean that they can run any ASP page based on whatever event or action CTI wise that you may want to happen. You'll see, for example, the create comm action is there, which is what has been used to create the communication in the background. This type of thing works for actions on CTI, but also works on the events. So whatever events you want to capture, you can also cause various things to happen. So when a call comes in at the moment, which you've seen in the end user experience, it calls the call in the ASP, which works out the call listing and so on. So that is completely customizable. Those ASP pages are open source and are available for partners and developers to use alike. Okay, so these are the main areas about the points: that there is full bidirectional movement between the two systems, between the mainframe and the framework, and that it's fully configured within the actual point and click of the events and actions. Within the actual background to the whole system, we'll just show you two areas, which is basically the event handler, which is the main programmable side of the system that allows you to see a whole library of functions, CRM functions that allow you to make different things to occur. Again, this is open source and it allows you to see all the various things you may want to happen on each of these different calls. So for example, on a call in, you can see there's a variety of different functions. These are all available in the SDK. Things like show caller, being able to do things like affect various screen areas using these div IDs, being able to make aesthetics occur like flashing divs and so on, and setting buttons to be enabled and disabled in real time as they actually occur. There is a variety of different types of functions that can be called. Some of them are for aesthetics, and some of them are more importantly for data and manipulation. You'll see an important function here called call server, and this maps the action to the system menus so that we know that transfer is called in the case of the CRM transfer function. Okay, and then in our provider, in this case QGate, we have full event management as well. So we have each of the events managed here in script form, and these can be, again, is open source and can be completely modified. For example, in any case of call status changes, we can see ringing, dialing, dial tone, line busy. We can cause anything to occur, and then these are all built in to cause something to occur. So for example, on the call statistics, we can create communication, and that's exactly what you've seen happen as a go. So this is all fully modifiable and configurable as you go. Okay, lots more about the CTI framework, but that's enough for now, just to give you hopefully a bit of an introduction about how it behaves and gives you some food for thought. Thanks very much.